If I smoked at my house, everyone would know because, like, first of all, my carpets would be on fire because I just don't know how to hold shit. How do you get that?
Honestly, I don't know. It's like asking Freddie Mercury, how the fuck do you fucking have a penis, you know?
Welcome back!
Hello, everyone!
We're back with the weed chickens, man. Okay.
Dude, break into the stories.
Weed stories with the chickens. Okay, dude, so I'm scarred emotionally from
Alright, yep.
from smoking.
Tell me, what is your entire experience?
Okay.
How was it introduced to you? What happened?
When I was a kid, I was babysat by like a bunch of they were pretty much not cousins, but like we were very close. Me and these two dudes, Francisco and Feliciano. Happy, pretty much. His name is Happy. Like his name literally translates to Happy. Basically, they were gang members, but very nice. They were very nice to me. They
Nice gang members.
They looked at me as like as a brother. Whenever we would hang out, we would be playing Pokemon, listening to Michael Jackson, like the whole fucking Bad album, just listening to all that stuff. And they were the ones that taught me about life and a bunch of stuff. They were really down to earth dudes, and they loved me and I loved them. Every time we hung out, it was like it was a fun experience, and we would just play games all the time. They were the ones that I would play Pokemon with, or even Yu-Gi-Oh with.
Awesome.
They were really good. And then later throughout their lives, you know, they moved to a very sketchy area, and then they started getting into drugs and started getting into gangs and all that stuff. But to this day, have still continued to be very nice people, to my extent. Feliciano moved over to Mexico and has got his arm chopped off.
What the fuck? That's so out there.
In Mexico, if you steal and you get caught, you get your arm chopped off by the police or whoever. So, first it started with his finger.
Oh my god.
He got his finger jammed at a door, and he couldn't get it off, so he had to rip it off. And I only know about this because he posted it on Facebook, which is like, oh my god.
Yikes.
So now he just has stubs. And then later,
This is awful.
he gets his hand cut off and posted on Facebook, and I'm like, man, I just hope you're doing okay. I hope the beach life treats you well.
You're just like,
I'm not shitting you.
instead of commenting, you know how sometimes Facebook people just hit the like button?
Yeah, they're so aggressive. It's such an aggressive move.
Instead of commenting, just hit the like button when they're in pain.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking of you, no, just thumbs up.
Little thumbs up. So Francisco still lives here. We've hung out a couple times, you know, because I think their dad got deported the year that, you know, everything happened. My dad knows his dad through soccer, so that's how we all got to know each other.
Okay.
And then yeah, Francisco's been here. He's got kids now, and he's got a wife and everything. And dude, yeah, like very nice person still to this day. I haven't talked to them in such a long time, but they're part of my life. You know, they were a part of my life. They're the ones who raised me up to today. Back to the weed story. They would do drugs all the time, but not around me, because they. This is how I knew that they cared about me. They wouldn't do those. I knew that they were doing drugs, but not around me. I was a kid. We were all kids. They were like maybe a couple of years older than me, like 2 or 3. But they wouldn't do that stuff around me. I just knew that they did it. I knew that they were dealing and, you know, doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's how I knew that they actually cared about me, because they didn't do that around me. But what they did introduce me to is porn, like hardcore. It was so funny. You know how your first we'll get back to the weed story, but my first exposure to porn was through them. We were just gathered around the living room, and I was just like, oh, dude, we're gonna watch Nickelodeon, right? Like Rugrats? I'm like, something like that. And then they just posted up this video, I think it was on Playboy or some shit like that, of like a girl on girl action, and they just hit play, they turn up the volume all the way.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was like, what, 10, 12?
Yeah.
Some shit like that. And they told me my eyes were glued to the screen. Glued to the screen, Evan.
As any kid would be.
I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know what to do. Because I'm like, I thought we were just going to do the usual stuff, you know? Like, watch a couple of episodes of Rugrats or whatever the fuck, and play some Yu-Gi-Oh! They didn't tell me shit. They were just like, I think it's time.
They're like, you're ready for it.
And ever since
And
that,
were you ready for it?
I mean, no one's ready for that stuff. You just get hit in the face with. And it's like, what the fuck is?
What the fuck?
They do that? I can do that? Fuck. Where's the potato needle? So anyway, it got. Okay, back to the weed story. The first time I smoked a blunt was with Jacob, one of my best friends.
Give a little backstory to that.
We were back with my old manager from Chipotle's. We were smoking. We went to the woods and we would smoke this bowl or whatever. And I've never liked smoking. I was condoned it to people like, dude, this is ruining your life, because I've seen what smoking weed in high school did to people, or just doing drugs in high school, what it did to people, and it fucked them up, and they're recovering to this day. You know what I mean?
And it's really sad to like. I try to really balance myself, but there's people who really are just get sunk into this deep pit of it.
Yeah,
and it's kind of sad.
That's why I always say, like, don't do drugs, and I stand by it, because you just don't know how it's gonna affect someone. I don't have fucking poison heals or whatever. In any case, for me, I did it the first time with Jacob and Bryce. Shout out to my old manager. I'm pretty sure he appreciates me saying his name. Who's a really cool guy. They're super cool. But ever since then, like, I would smoke with them just every once in a while, but it always made me feel lightheaded, like I'm gonna throw up and puke everywhere.
Interesting.
It made me feel so sick. I just have to leave. Oops.
That's interesting, because weed usually, you can kind of feel upset stomach, but you will never throw up usually with weed.
Well, that's the thing. I throw up.
But
all
if
the
you
time.
do it too much, then yeah.
Well, granted, I was a kid with asthma, so I just would never do drugs in general, or like smoke weed or whatever in general. But I would, I would take small hits and just kind of like stand in the weed. Like I told you before, back when I was living in North St. Paul, there was these kids that we used to skateboard with, or I used to skateboard with or whatever. And we just went to their house, to one of the kids' house, and their dad was like smoking weed, and we just sat there on the couch, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know, it's always been around me.
Yeah.
But I never did it. So my stepdad obviously smoked because, that was part of his thing, you know, because as he was going through chemo and all that stuff, through cancer, he would smoke heavily, and that would relax him. Oh, actually, he was the first one that gave me the, going back to it, when I lived in the trailer park, he was the one that let me try out a blunt. We were doing a family thing, just all around, it's kind of fucked up, but we were all around like a kitchen table, and he had one because he was like, this helps me so much. I'm like, really? And I was like, can I try? He was like, he looked at my mom, then he looked at me, and he was like, you know what? What's gonna happen?
Well, I mean, you turned out pretty good, so.
Oh, dude, I that's one of, like, I miss him so much, you know? Like, I don't want to take this into a downer, but he was my father, and, you know, all the stuff that we went through.
I'm glad you have good memories of him.
I only have good memories of him. You know, I don't have a single bad memory of him at all. Anyway, back to the weed story. I smoked with Jacob, and then back when I was at Chipotle's, we were hotboxing in a car.
Yeah, of course.
It was after work, and we were like, oh, we're so hungry. We got off early. It was a shitty shift. Everyone's in a bad mood.
After you smoked? Or both?
No, that was way before. There's people in the in a car hotboxing, and they were like, let's just go to TGIF's, which is like pretty close to where we were at. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. So we were hotboxing in the car. We rode over there, and they were passing around this biggest blunt I've ever seen, like as big as my palm to my middle finger, and it was a cross. I don't smoke, Evan. So when they gave me this, and I held it like...
Were you greens? Like the one to start it?
No.
Okay.
I was in the middle of it.
It was passed to you in rotation.
Yep, exactly. So when I took the hit,
Wow.
Immediately coughed, and I couldn't stop.
Puking your guts out, coughing kind of thing.
I coughed so much. We went to TGIF's, and I ordered something like boneless wings. But I was just like, guys, I'm really fucked up. I can't eat this. And I just left. And I go to my car and throw up everywhere. My face was green.
Yeah.
And they were all looking at me like, dude, you're really fucked up. I'm like, you should have never gave me that blood. Now I'm panicking. How the fuck am I gonna get home? But that wasn't the worst though. That was not the worst I've ever been with drugs. That's why I don't do it. So, because it always messes me up. Because, you know, everyone's pain tolerance is something, and then whoever has their own stash already has their own tolerance to it. So their stash is a little bit different from what you're used to.
Yeah.
Everyone's is different. In any case, Rockfest. That time at Rockfest was the worst I had ever, and it wasn't even, I didn't even smoke weed. Jacob's mom made brownies, and I was extremely hungry. I had no idea they were brownies.
No way! Did you just eat half the pan?
I ate 1.5 brownies.
Dude.
In the middle of eating the other half, because I was gonna eat 2. I was fucking hungry. Mind you, before that, we were drinking all day, constantly.
And see, that's, I think, the worst part. If you drink mixing it, that just amplifies it so much.
I didn't know they were pop brownies, because she brought them out. She's like, who's hungry? And I'm like, how did you know? Like, I'm starving. Everyone's like jumping in the swimming. We have a little floaty swimming pool. We had like an enclosed trailer park area, or trailer home, enclosed. And everyone's just like jumping in, having a good time. I'm like, I'm really fucking starving. And she comes out with these pop brownies. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so hungry. And I immediately, without question, just start eating one. And then as I finish that one, she looks at me. She's like, hey, you might want to slow down. These are laced with fish. They're my own special mix. I'm like, wait, are you trying to tell me that these have weed in them? And she's like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I'm like, fuck.
You're like, oh, God.
And then from there, I sat down and I talked to Jeremy, one of my other cousins, and I was just like, trying to talk to him like, hey man, I don't feel high right now, but I feel like it's gonna hit very soon. What should I do? And he's like, dude, just stay calm, get some water, you'll be fine. And then I went through the phases. Do you know the phases?
Yeah, I've been through them, but enlighten me. How was your experience? What did you go through?
At first, I was laughing hysterically. Everyone didn't have a shirt on. Oh, sorry, no one had a shirt on. So I immediately, except for the women, obviously. There was girls there too. They had shirts on. Whatever. Nobody had a shirt on besides the men didn't have a shirt on. So I just kept looking at their nipples the entire time. And I was just like, why are you so overweight? And this boob is just sticking out in my face. And then I was just like, what if I would have put my mouth around? And then, all of these stupid things went in my head, right?
Yeah, yep.
And immediately I just couldn't stop laughing. And then I look at Jeremy like I was panicking, like, hey, dude, I just couldn't control my my own breathing. And then I got scared, and then I started crying aggressively. Like, fuck, man, I can't stop. I don't know what's going on. And then Jeremy's just like, oh, man, just drink some water. I'm like, I don't think you fucking understand. I was just going through that. And then it hit. When the weed took over the alcohol, dude, I'll finish the story real quick.
Yeah.
I got so lightheaded and so dizzy. I got vertigo pretty much right away.
Wow.
And this all happened in the span of 30 seconds.
Nice.
This was, mind you, this was the first day of Rockfest. The first fucking day. I missed the best concerts that I wanted to go to. I missed Breaking Benjamin, which is one of my favorite old school bands back in the day, post pop rock or whatever.
Okay.
I missed them, and I think Flyleaf was also playing that night. I'm like, oh, dude, I miss Flyleaf. I went over to my tent, and I went behind my tent. I went over to my tent inside to lie down, and I couldn't. I immediately just couldn't. It was so fucking hot. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go to sleep. The room just kept spinning, so I went outside, and everything was spinning. I almost the trailer hitch that connected to the car was right next to the tent, so I almost hit my head on that as I was trying to kneel down. And everyone's just watching. He was like, dude, are you right? I'm like, guys, I'm really fucked up. And there's a picture on my thing of one of Sam's girlfriends, So how do I say this? Sam's girlfriend, not one of. He only has one. Sam's girlfriend came over and
Just to clarify.
she was like, help me out, like, oh, are you okay? And she was being so nice to me. She helped me out through the entire experience. But I was doing a fetal position, so my head was like on the ground, touching my knees pretty much. And my ass is exposed to the air. And then Jacob and everyone's like, dude, Artie, if you keep showing me that ass, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I'm like, guys, I'm so fucked up right now. Help me out. And they're like, every so often, like, oh man, he keeps throwing up, and like, I think this is the only time, you know, we can take him on, guys. What do you think? It's like, and everyone's like, no, I don't want to throw up on my shirt. You know, we'll take him on some other day. So anyway, it got to the point where I missed that whole night, or that whole day. I slept 14 hours, I think.
Wow.
To the next day, and then when I woke up, everyone was like, he's alive, he's good. I'm like,
You just needed to sleep it off.
I was so fucked up. And to this day, I smoked once when I was with my sister and my the one girl from the Chipatos that I had over as a date one time.
Okay, yep.
That was the last time I smoked. And ever since then, I don't really care for it. Every time I've done it has always been a bad experience, and I'm one of those people that never has to do it. There she is. Hello, baby. Anyway.
We don't have to do it, but possibly sometime in the future we'll roll up and we'll have a grand old time. Because whenever we're hanging out, I have one of the best times.
I hope so, man, because this is, you know, this is what I live for. You know, it's this. It's one of my favorite times when I hang out with you. And not to be all corny or whatever, but you're one of my closest friends, so if smoking weed is what's going to get us closer together,
If I have to.
whatever.
I will do, but it must be done.
Oh, God, you're so weird. Okay, times,
Dude.
we went over time, so,
I appreciate you sharing that with me. I feel you're very... did the controller just stop working?
no, how do I, there we go, okay.
I got you. You're just aggressively pressing into your sweatshirt because Artie's holding the controller inside the little pocket.
I was just trying to get to this so we can pause it. Okay, anyway.
All right. Regardless, thank you guys for
That was
watching.
a good episode.
It's been interesting telling these stories. We'll have more coming out later.
Cool, bye.
Bye.